I'm just gonna hit record. Cool.
All right. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Today, we're going to be diving deep into Follow-Up Friday. And I'm really excited about this topic because I feel like as unsexy as this topic is in the business, it truly is one of those things that is most critical to growing your organization. And so let me just start off by telling you, when I first started this business, I watched my coach for 13 months. So I don't know about you guys, but if she hadn't constantly been posting or sharing her story or sliding it into my inbox, I likely would not have joined her, right? If she would have been inconsistent in her posting, I probably wouldn't have, because I was extremely skeptical. I did not want to sell anyone to anyone. Actually, I was in sales. That was not my issue. But I was very, very, very concerned, and maybe you guys can turn your cameras on and do a raise of hands or blow up the chat. And just, I don't know how many of you guys were worried about what other people on social media were going to tell. And the last thing that about me or be judging me. And so I was very uncomfortable when I first started this as a coach. So I'm going to give you guys some specific tips and hopefully some takeaways. That way you can have action. Okay. So follow up, follow up, follow up. That should be your favorite F word, especially if you are serious about growing this business. Studies show that it takes 5 to 10 times for people to see something before they ever get started. Right? I just told you I watched my coach for 13 months. I could give you names of people on my team who watched for months and months and months and got an invite every single month before they did anything. So people have to see it. They have to get in front of it. And if you're afraid to go follow up with them because you feel like you don't want to be salesy or you don't want to be annoying, you're doing yourself and them a disservice. I have a girl who's actually a leader on my team now, and she literally got an invite every single month. Every single month, there was a new invite in her inbox because I knew that this opportunity was going to help her. There was just something on my heart that knew that she was going to be an amazing addition to our team. And now she's one of the top leaders and earners on my team. Okay, so my first tip is that you want to be intentional. You have to have some sort of system for your follow-ups. I, for a very long time, utilized my Facebook Messenger as my follow-up list. Let me be very, very clear. You don't want to do that. I'm one of the people who was very unfortunate to have their Facebook account hacked about 3 years ago, and I lost everything, right? And I had already hit elite a couple times. I was almost maxed out on my friends. I was having so many conversations. So please hear me when I say that is absolutely not a way that you want to manage it. So whether it be pen and paper, I personally love the Success Club trackers because you can actually write stuff on the back of them. I know a lot of people like using Streak, but you have to have some sort of system. The other tip that I'm going to say is ask people for their emails, whether they're in a free group or they're just interested or they're ready to get started. Everyone, you should have an email list. Chalene Johnson taught me this a long time ago. If you're not getting people's email list, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because eventually something could happen where. How funny my I am. Okay, it's right on the table. It's the guy where you asked if they're sleeping. Okay. Sorry, guys. Distance learning with a kindergartner and an 8th grader and a 5th grader. I'm like in the thick, you guys. Okay. So what I was saying is we never know what's going to happen with social media. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever social sites you use could go away. I mean, I pray that that never happens because that is how we build our platform, right? But what if it did? What if one day Carl Deichler said, hey, guess what? It's been a great ride, but Beachbody's done. What would you do? All your contact information would be gone if those platforms decided to go somewhere else. But if you have their email, you can do so much with that. You can continue to build. because I'm a firm believer that when you have that emotional relationship and connection with people, they will stay with you regardless of anything. Hand over heart, I hope Beachbody is here until the day that I die and that my kids get to keep doing this, because I do believe Beachbody Blue. I believe in everything that we stand for. It has changed everything in my life. But we just have to make sure that we have our own backs and have some sort of system of how we're connecting with our customers. The really cool thing is programs like Streak, they will keep everything in there. And then they send you all kinds of emails, teach you how to do it. You can even get in touch with like a sales rep who will teach your team how to use it. So just a couple of tips there. Okay, so let me get back to my list so I don't go on squirrel tangents, because I'm super passionate about what we do and I will literally go off on other things. Okay, so have a system and being intentional. Okay, so my next thing is be a friend. Guys, it takes work to build relationships. It's not going to happen overnight. And so what do I mean by being a friend? If I'm going to reach out to Bailey, I'm going to say, I'm going to talk to her just like we are BFFs. She has become one of my best friends in the business, but it wasn't without this business, right? And so my first interaction with Bailey might be, hey girl, oh my gosh, I've been watching you crushing navigating motherhood. You're super cute and pregnant. You're teaching, like, how are you juggling all this, right? That sounded super cheesy, but like whatever sounds like you. That's also why I don't use scripts. When people are like, I just don't know what to say, I always tell them, how would you talk to your best friend? How would you talk to your family member? How would you talk to somebody that you bumped into at the grocery store?
Hey,
I can't tell you.
Hey, Melissa, how's it going? Oh, it's going good. I'm buried in paperwork today.
Hold on.
I'm buried in paperwork.
Oh, really?
Okay, let me fix that. Okay. It is so easy to make a connection with someone when you find a commonality. And so along with being a friend and building those relationships is go and engage in their stuff. If this is someone that you genuinely want to join you, go get interested in what they're doing, right? I want you to watch their stories. I want you to comment on their things. I want you to know if they have animals. I want you to figure out if they have certain hobbies, right? Because if I send Bailey an invite and then I never talk to her for 6 months and then I try to follow up with her, she's going to be like, this chick only shows up in my DMs when she wants me to buy something from her, right? But if I'm engaging with Jessica every single day and going and watching, eventually Jessica's going to be like, what's she doing over there? Why is she so nice? Why is she so happy all the time? What's that juice she's drinking? How can her and her team get to go on all these amazing trips, right? So go and do those things and build those relationships. I really have to emphasize that if that is totally a part of the every single day follow-up. The other thing that I would say with, you know, being intentional is seeing if you have a day that works best for you. Is it a follow-up Friday? Is it a Sunday evening? For me, I love Sunday evenings. I actually have gotten away from working on Sunday evenings, so sometimes it's a Saturday morning, but Sunday evenings used to be my bread and butter because that's when the moms who were like me were getting ready to go back to work, or we're packing school lunches and we're like laying in bed dreading the next day, right? So I'm going to slide in and I'm going to say, Lizzie, oh my gosh, it has been a crazy week, but I'm getting ready to, you know, close out my end of September accountability groups, and I had you down on my list of people to follow up with. I use simple language like that, but I also use very bold language. Be clear in what you want to say to people, because when you're clear in that, they're going to feel that confidence. If you go in and you're like, hey, so like, I have this group coming up and I know you said no before and it's totally okay if you're not interested, but I just wanted to check in with you. That doesn't sound like somebody that's confident in what they're doing. And guys, we have the best freaking solution out there, right? By a show of hands, if you agree with me, either blow it up in the chat or raise your hand. We have the best solution out there. We are not just promoting health. We are not just promoting shakes. We are not just promoting sweaty selfies. We are not just promoting sisterhood. We are not just doing just those things, right? It's a solution for everything. And if you're not excited about that, you have to lean back in harder. You have to get closer to the fire so that you can invite people to be a part of this with you, right? So next thing, is along the same, but being clear with your message. Get really bold. Nobody wants a copy and pasted message. And I promise you, if you're constantly copying, pasting, number one, you're going to get burnout. Number two, you're going to feel disengaged. And number three, it could come off as very disingenuous. There have been times where I literally will have a message that I really love, a follow-up message, and I will change the name. But I always try to tie in something of saying that, I either remember from a past conversation or something that I've seen in their stories recently or something that they've posted about, right? And so tying that back and being able to do it and say, so I don't know, if I went to Tamara and I said, hey girl, I just wanted to check in and see how you're in California, and I just wanted to see, how is she, right? It's going to be, one, an intro to a conversation. Number two, she's going to be super happy that I remembered that about our past conversation. And number three, we're building trust, and trust and emotion go a very long way. And so I'm not going to maybe go in for the kill right away with that conversation. If I know that they had something super heavy going on in their life, I'm going to be delicate with that. Now, it might be a different conversation with Melissa, right? Maybe Melissa has been commenting on all my stuff and saying, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired by you. I wish I could do one of your groups. I just can't afford it. I'm going to go to Melissa and I'm going to say, girlfriend, we've been chatting for 6 months now, and every week you are commenting or taking a poll and you are talking about how you want to get started with me. I know that there's never going to be a perfect time. It's kind of like baby. There's no perfect time. But I promise you, all the things that you've been wanting to do and that have been inspiring you, you could do this too. What's holding you back? So ask questions, guys. Get very clear on what their objection is, so that when you're following up, you can, number one, empathize, because I think that's a big thing. And number two, have a way to overcome that with maybe an obstacle that you face yourself or somebody on your team. Okay. Let's see. Nope, I'm on a call. Okay, I need you to go get started on your morning work packet and trace your letters and do the coloring of the sounds with the crayon. Thank you. Okay, there are a few things that I would recommend is if you are super uncomfortable with follow-ups is, number one, you have to be doing personal development. I think your mindset, there's so much that goes along with that, and making sure that, you're not in your own way. Because just like we talked at the beginning of the call, that I was afraid of what other people were going to think of me in my small town if I, followed up with them or invited them. I had to get out of my own way. And so a book that I highly recommend is Fear is My Homeboy. And another one is Mastering Your Inner Mean Girl, because the stories that we tell ourselves are most of the time BS. Okay. So those two are really, really good books. And the other thing is, I would honestly get yourself into a really good headspace before you go and do any of those. I worked in sales for a very long time. I was in leadership management. And one of the things that we always told our people, our team, was that you had to have your customer service face on, right? And so what does that look like for us? If you just got done rage cleaning and screaming about stuff and you're just overwhelmed and feeling like you're drowning, you don't want to go into, hey, join my team or my accountability group, because whether you realize it or not, your energy is contagious. So whether it's putting on a hype song and drinking some pre and saying, you know what, I'm going to spend the next hour doing nothing but invites and getting very clear and intentional on that, I promise you that will help. I promise you. You have to go into this excited about it. Also go into it with the intention that you're going to freaking help people, right? Set the intentions when you're doing your follow-ups that I'm going to send out 3 share carts today. And then also setting the intentions, just like I said, is what day are you going to follow up on? So if you have that date in place, number one, that sets a clear expectation to your family and those around you that that's mommy's work time, or that's, that's when I'm doing these things. But also, if I'm constantly sliding into Samantha's DMs on Fridays to follow up with her, guess what? Samantha's going to expect that. She's going to be like, oh gosh, it's Friday. Guys, Fridays is typically when people come with a money objection. Here's always what I say is, I totally understand. That was actually part of my fear in getting started. I felt like $140 was so much money. But here's what I got. I got one package of DVDs, the shakes, my containers, and a book, and my coach sign up. Now you're going to get 1 year access. You're going to get access to all the programs. You're going to be able to purchase VIP early access. Before, I used to have to go and buy all the DVDs, and that was like $60 a piece. If I wasn't a coach, it would have been like $75, right? So talking to them about that, but breaking it down. And when I do my follow-ups, and if money comes up as an objection, one of the things that I always do is I help them see that they can actually afford it. And this is where I get bold too. And I just would say, Jessica, I totally understand that, money's tight and finances. Here's some of the things that helped me understand that I actually could afford it. I went back to my bank account and I looked at how many times I was going to the coffee shop. I looked at how many times I was stopping for a bottle of wine on the way home from a long day at work. I looked at how many times I was going through the fast food drive-through on the way home after a 14-hour day. I looked at how many times I was going into Kohl's on my lunch break just to buy something because I thought that was going to make me feel better about my day. And guess what? It was way more than $140. And so guys, if you aren't doing that yet, do that. Get bold and very intentional so that you can help people paint the picture. Okay. So here's a few ways that beyond your tracking system that you can find people to follow up with, because we all know that unfortunately, if you're not really good at tracking, and maybe you're not going to be good up until now because now is going to be your first time ever getting a notebook or creating streaks so that you have a tracking system, here's some ways that you can go back and find people to follow up with. So number one is go to your Beachbody share cart, and everyone who's either viewed it or you've sent a link to that hasn't purchased, you're going to resend that out. And then you're going to message them and you're going to say, hey, Jessica, thanks so much for hearing me out on this, but I just looked at my back office and it doesn't look like you've purchased yet. Did I get the wrong email address? Or I know mom life is super freaking crazy. I'm drowning over here too. But what's keeping me afloat is having my online accountability groups and a community that lifts me up and gives me different tips and tricks on how to stay afloat during this time. And right now, everyone should get energized. I feel like literally, it's not just for working out. Like, you're going to get your dishes done. You're going to get your work done. You are going to do all the things with it. So get that in everyone's cart. So share cart, number one. Number two, Instagram and Facebook polls. If you're utilizing that, and if you're not, you should be, but going back into your archives and looking and seeing and saying, okay, who's voted on my polls yet that I haven't yet connected with? Or who's voted on my polls that's slipped through the cracks? Or who's voted on my polls that said they wanted to join me and haven't yet, right? And so that's a good way to do it as well. Even if it's somebody who I do polls sometimes that say I'm not ready yet. Maybe it was somebody 6 months ago that wasn't ready yet. And that can look like, hey, Bailey, I know you weren't ready 6 months ago, but I just came across your account again. I want to, number one, see how you're doing. And number two, I still have groups that I'm running. And I don't know if you're interested, but I'd love for you to try a sample workout, right? The other thing is past groups. Have you ran free groups? I just decided this morning that next week I'm starting a free nutrition group. People RSVP to those and then never do anything, right? It's kind of like when people have those parties like online and they invite you and you're like, why am I here? But this gives them an opportunity. I don't ever add anyone into a group that doesn't want to be there. Ooh, let's see, somebody's wanting in. But hold on. I don't know. There we go. Okay. I don't ever add anyone into those groups, but like as soon as I made that link this morning, somebody freaking that I didn't invite because I haven't sent out any invites. I just created a public event. Another mom in my community, and I'm just going to do 5 days of meal plans. Why am I going to do that? Because that's going to create a new funnel of people as I go into October. Okay. Think about people who have joined your sneak peeks in the past, right? Oh, hold on. If everyone can mute themselves, that'd be awesome. So think about the people who have been saying, I want to join you. And then they get on those sneak peeks and then nothing, right? What? Just message and just say, hey, Bailey, I saw you were on the sneak peek. What'd you think of it? What was your biggest takeaway? Or, Bailey, I know life is busy and you weren't able to get on it. If I sent you the recording, is that something you'd want to watch? Right? It's just these simple questions that you're able to ask people and just being yourself. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be something that's disingenuous. Literally, gut check moment. Am I talking to people the way that I would want to be talked to? And if ever feel like I'm a salesperson, I feel like I have an opportunity to serve people. I feel like it's my responsibility to pay this forward because it's not only helped me transform my health, but it's transformed our financial situation. It's brought me home to my kids. It's given me some of the best friends of my life. It's taken me and my family to places we would have never been, right? And so if you're only talking Beachbody, start talking about the other things and it'll be easier to follow up. If you're not figuring out what people's pain points are, it's going to be hard to follow up with them when they shut you down, right? And so figuring out why they are saying no. What have they done before in the past that hasn't worked? What are they most excited about? Do they have trips that they're looking forward to? How have they been staying afloat through quarantine? That's one of my favorite, or I guess we're not, I don't know what we're in. We're just in crazy 2020, right? Just saying like, hey, what's been your biggest bright spot of 2020? I know things are crazy, but like, what's been your biggest bright spot? And it's just creating conversations. Just like I said, okay. The other thing is, like I said in the beginning, making sure you have a list all the time. I think that you should always have a funnel of people that you're working off of because it's going to be really hard to follow up with anyone if you're not inviting anyone, right? And so who's going on that list? Anyone who votes on my poll, anyone who says that they want to come to a sneak peek even if they don't come up or don't join, anyone who is saying yes but not right now, right? Anyone who is saying, I'll be ready after the holidays. All those people, right? I just had a girl on Instagram who I'd been talking to for 2 months. I finally just sent her a message and I was like, hey, you keep ghosting me. Is everything good? And she was like, oh my gosh, I had my birthday. And then like all my messages were blown up. I'm so sorry. Then we went on a trip. I totally want to join you, but I don't get paid until the second week of October. Perfect. I'll be ready for you then. When you're ready, until then, send me some messages. Also, check out the link in my bio. You'll learn more about our team. You'll learn about my story. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited, right? So figuring out what it is and what's holding people back is probably the most important part of your job. Because I tell my team and my kids all the time, a closed mouth don't get fed. If you're not asking, the answer will always be no. You have to get freaking excited about what we're doing because this business is a blessing. I promise you guys. And it's our jobs to follow up with people because most of the time they don't know what they're missing out on. And I get it. I understand that it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there to get rejection. If you're not hearing no, you're not doing your job. Let me just be very clear on that. Your job is to get no's. And no right now doesn't mean no all the time. So make sure that you are going back and you are inviting those people again. And every time you have a free group, Jessica, you're going to get an invite. And every time you're running a book club, Jessica, you're getting an invite. And every time you're running a water challenge, Samantha, you're going to get an invite, right? So invite them to all the things, but also make your page someplace that they want to go. I'm a firm believer that if you are putting out positivity and you are just and your style and your energy is infectious, people are going to keep coming back. And eventually those follow-ups that you're doing are going to form into something. I think that everyone who hasn't joined you when you invite them is just that they haven't joined you right now. Like, so funny, a couple weeks ago, Lori model, we were getting ready for a call like this for Next Level Legend. She was like, I'm so nervous. I'm going to go meet a mom I've never met. I've never been nervous about this. And one of the girls was like, I guarantee, give it a month, she'll be like a Shakeology customer or a coach on your team, because that's what happens, right? It just comes out naturally when you start engaging with people. And so we have a couple minutes, and I just want you guys to listen to what I'm about to say, and I want you to write it down, and I want you to hold true to it. Following up is my job. Following up is my job. You don't get to pick and choose what you like to do if you want to build a successful business. You have to do all the things. The Success Club tracker system is in place because it's what works. And I promise you guys, if you're not utilizing it now, you need to start. I encouraged my entire team to go to a local print shop and to have 52 printed out front and back so that they have it for the entire year. So if you haven't done that yet, you can do that. You can also, if that doesn't work for you, you can have a notebook, you can get the Google Streak, you can do whatever it is. But following up is your job. And it's a gift, and it's a privilege to be able to do this, right? And I want you to think of all the coaches that you admire and that you respect and that have done the things that you want to do. I'm here to let you know, if you didn't already know, they do follow-ups. They do follow-ups, right? They're not sitting waiting. My team hasn't hit elite 4 times because we sit on our hands and wait for people to come to us. We have to do the work. And you have to do the work consistently. I'm not saying you have to go follow up every single day, but pick a day of the week that you're going to, that's going to work for you. Get yourself into a good state of mind. And I'll just go over the tips that I had. So you're going to be intentional. You're going to be a friend. You're going to be clear. You're going to be bold. Okay. You're going to do the personal development to get you out of your own way. And you're going to do your freaking job, because this is a gift and you get to do this and it's fun. And the more people that you bring on that are like you, you're going to build your own tribe. Right? And so today, what I want you guys to do, oh, and then the other thing, don't forget, always get their email. Have some sort of email funnel to get them into. Having that list of, 5 to 10 people at all times to follow up with. But today, I want you guys to go 20 minutes just doing invites. That's all I want you to do. I want you to send follow-up invites and just figuring out who's going to be joining you as you go into October. And as you go into your follow-ups each week or each day, however you do it, I want you to be very clear. I want you to get intentional. And I want you to say, I'm going to send out blank share cards by doing these follow-ups. You know how many people I've seen at the last day of the month who go and freaking follow up like a crazy person and go from 0 to Success Club in the matter of a day simply because they followed up? So many, right? So don't be afraid to do it. Again, a closed mouth don't get fed. And if you don't ask, the answer will always be no. We are here to help you and to encourage you, but just go out and be the coach that you want. Think about the things that the top leaders that you really admire do, and just remember, they do follow-ups as well. They do invites as well. I promise you guys, this is not hard. And again, I'm not going to give you any scripts today because I just want you to be yourself, and I want you to think, how would I respond to this, right? If I was talking to my girlfriend, if I was talking to my best friend, if I was talking to my spouse, my mother, how would I respond to this? And hopefully that takes the discomfort out of it and helps you build this business, and you fall in love with the process. And one day you'll be on a call like this teaching other people how to follow up, and that there's so much fortune in it. Because again, I wouldn't be here today if my coach didn't follow up for 13 months. And now my life is drastically changed. So think about first, what was it that made you get started, right? Think about the people on your team that you've invited so many times and now they're here. What did that look like? It's like an uphill climb, but once you get up there and you see the view, you're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is cool. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope you guys have an amazing day. I want to know if you do some follow-ups today, what worked, what didn't work, what wins did you get? So post those in the Next Level Legends. And thank you for recording. I super appreciate you. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I am always here if you guys need anything. Guys, we don't have much longer in this group. So you have to draw a line in the sand and say, am I holding myself back by not doing the work because I'm afraid of failing, or I'm afraid of leading people, or I'm afraid of what other people will say about me? Because I promise you, you're not going to be alone. We have amazing trainings to provide to you guys. And it's your responsibility to do this. So go out and create the business that you want, because you're absolutely capable of it. All right? Does anyone have any questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself or throw something in the chat. Okay. Let's see. So Bailey said this morning she went and screenshotted all of the polls for the month, and she said everyone got an invite. Yeah, taking pre-before will get you hyped up. Cool. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your day. I hope you have the best weekend. And just remember, following up is your job. It's not scary. Have a great day, guys.